An estimated 90% of the cocaine that comes into the United States passes through the Mexican border. And in a disturbing trend, the cartels are now turning to children to carry the illegal drugs. As CCTV's Mike Kirsch reports, it's a journey that puts their lives and futures at serious risk.
At the U.S.-Mexico border in Nogales, Arizona, American border agents say there may be no greater concentration of illegal narcotics in one place than those smuggled through their border post from just over this fence in Nogales, Mexico. Every imaginable drug for export, like those sold locally in pill form or individually wrapped for a quick fix or high. Sold by shopkeepers like this in the back of his store, who asked me not to show his face. Says he sells them to help feed his family.
That's crystal meth? How much is the crystal meth?
This is a $20 rock.
That's cocaine? That's crack?
That's crack.
And how much is that?
That's $10.
Heroin, or black tar, is a local favorite.
Black tar, $40.
That's your black tar heroin?
Yes.
What is that?
He says the amount of drugs available locally are nothing compared to the massive amounts smuggled into the U.S. each year.
How is it getting across?
Oh, it's many ways. Yes.
One way in so-called super tunnels like this one, recently discovered by U.S. authorities running underground from Tijuana, Mexico to San Diego, California. Several tons of marijuana and cocaine confiscated. And back here in Arizona, U.S. border agents have caught drug smugglers using storm and sewage pipes under Main Street in the middle of downtown Nogales. And they just recently stopped a tractor-trailer truck trying to drive through the border here with 10 tons of marijuana worth $10 million, a record bust in Arizona. Drug cartels also pay working-class Mexicans to walk the drugs through the official pedestrian border crossing. Many caught and photographed by U.S. border agents each year. And now, rather alarmingly, with so many adults being caught, Mexico's drug cartels are increasingly recruiting school-aged children to sneak drugs across the border, says Vanessa Cartwright, a local deputy county attorney in Nogales who prosecutes them.
And what we're seeing is that they will utilize these kids to achieve that goal, who are bringing in just huge amounts of narcotics. Sometimes we see marijuana, but for the most part, it's methamphetamines, heroin, and cocaine.
The cartel, she says, recruiting the many Mexican-American kids here born to illegal immigrants on the U.S. side of the border, as well as kids who've moved back to Mexico with their parents who've been deported. The kids still holding their American citizenship documents and are able to move back and forth across the border legally quite easily. Like this 16-year-old high school student who we'll call Melissa, recently caught by U.S. Border Patrol agents with a kilo of heroin. She's facing up to 12 years in a U.S. prison. Melissa's American attorney allowing her to speak to CCTV if her face isn't shown.
I was in school with my classmates, and one of them called me to meet up. She started telling me about the smuggling across the border and asked me if I wanted to do it. She began to sweet-talk me, inducing me to first watch how others did it and how easy it seemed. They convinced me, and I ended up agreeing to it. They tell you at first the pay is $500, and then depending on how much you're willing to take with you, you'll get more money. They take advantage of your innocence. They never explain the risks of smuggling. They make sure to deceive you with their words in a way that seems like nothing bad can ever happen.
And nothing bad did happen at first, she says, as she successfully passed through this pedestrian border crossing like hundreds of kids do each day to go to school in Nogales, Arizona. Once across, she says she was then instructed to board one of the many privately run shuttle buses that transport passengers north to Tucson, Arizona. Tucson and Phoenix, further up the highway, are well-known distribution centers for Mexico's drug cartels. Once smugglers make it here, the drugs are transported to major cities across the United States. In tracing Melissa's route north, I boarded one such Tucson-bound shuttle bus with a concealed camera. The vehicle filled with passengers, including this young woman and young man sitting in front of me. 20 minutes into the trip is a U.S. Border Patrol checkpoint on the highway, where border agents routinely search shuttle buses like this one. The mood inside this bus seems rather tense. It's unknown if anyone aboard is smuggling narcotics. This border agent questions the young woman in front of me.
You ever been arrested before?
makes it through. But that was not the case when Border Police stopped Melissa's shuttle bus.
I was very nervous. I was so desperate when the police caught me that I didn't even know what I was doing. My mind went blank. They found drugs on my body, heroin.
Being arrested was bad enough, she says, but then the drug cartels want to know what happened to their drugs.
But if they hold you responsible for the loss of the drugs, they will expect you to pay it back.
And the same applies when a kid gets busted attempting to carry cash from drug sales back to the cartels in Mexico.
And they put $100,000 inside.
In Melissa's case, the kilo of heroin she lost to authorities was worth around $50,000. Melissa, say prosecutors, is lucky she's still alive.
I think that she is extremely lucky. I think that these cartels, they don't play around. And, you know, the kids are not old enough to really comprehend what they're getting themselves into.
And as Mike tells us, many of the children, like Melissa, caught with hard drugs face long prison sentences and a lifetime of hardships. You can watch Mike Kirsch's entire report on cctv-america.com.